So we had a Megazord battle, the return of a character from a previous Power Rangers series, and we finally kind of figured out what happened with the Nexus Prism. And then things really got weird. Hi guys, my name is Maria Park, and this is Approach to Nerd. And in this episode, we are reviewing Power Rangers Dino Fury, episode 8, called Unexpected Guest. And they got one, and a few other unexpected things, because this was a crazy episode. The Rangers at the beginning are in a Mega Zord battle with, I guess, Doom Snake, and they end up destroying Doom Snake, which is fine, because, needed to go. But then we're introduced to Wolfgang, which is this wolf monster who can use his voice to tear apart things. And he does this to their Zord, which kind of stresses out Zato because he didn't realize that that could happen. He doesn't have a solution for this problem. Then we see Mick Canick from Ninja Steel. The only good thing about that show, in my opinion, I'm just going to be real with you. And he appears and he's searching for the Nexus Prism. And I will say, Zato was kind of a dick to him in this. I was like, what? He was like, oh, maybe you can team up and help me. And he's like, we have our own problems. So, scatty-o. And even at the end of this episode where Zato apologizes, I still felt annoyed because I felt like he was only saying, oh, I didn't realize that the Nexus Prism was a big deal and worth my time. So, sorry. That was really weird, guys. I guess my problem as a whole with them doing that with Zato's character is that nothing before this episode has ever shown him to act like this. He's had doubts about his planet being, intact. He's had doubts about finding other survivors, like his mother or other members of the Knights that he was a part of. But we've never seen him just be a straight up a-hole to someone. And that it was really interesting to see in this episode. So that kind of took me for, by surprise a little bit. But anyway, they realized that, Void Knight is also after the Nexus Prism. So that gives them the inclination to say, oh, well, maybe we should help. And so they bring Mick, who is hysterically, Wolfgang is trying to, I don't know if he's trying to catch him to try and figure out what Nexus Prism or whatever, but Mick keeps shape-shifting, and he like shape-shifts into this little car, and he's like driving around him. I don't know. That whole thing was hysterical to me. It was hysterical. We did get our weekly morph. I love the morph sequence. I always say it. I'm always going to say it. I love the morph sequence in this show. So I was extremely happy to see it. And I was extremely happy to see them inside the morphing grid because that's where they go to transform every time. I think that's pretty effing cool. But what we learned from the Nexus Prism and from Mick trying to find it is that it's on the waterfront. And so when they go to it, Zato's able to read its mind because it's a living, organism or whatever. And as he's, putting his hand on, he's getting these flashes. And so we've learned that the Nexus Prism was created by the Morphing Masters. They also created the Dino Gems from Power Rangers, Dino Thunder, and probably the Energems. So it seems like they've created a lot of Power Ranger artifacts that power teams. We don't know why. We don't know why they continue to watch all the Power Rangers, because we also see through Zato's connection that they've watched, in a kind of creepy way. They've watched all the Power Ranger teams do battle and things like that. So that's very interesting. But the Nexus Prism apparently has been sent to Earth to find something. Now, that could be a lot of things. I mean, my question is it there to find the Gold Ranger? Because if Zato was asleep for 67 million years, and maybe the Gold Ranger was too, and we already know he's been cast. So maybe the Prism is trying to get him and give him his abilities or his powers or wake him up or whatever. So maybe that could be one avenue that they could be going with that. Or this could also have to do with Hasbro's future with Power Rangers, because we know they're doing movies and we know that they're branching away from Toei. So maybe this is a way of having the Morphing Masters create all new powers that have nothing to do with Toei or previous Super Sentai incarnations. So there's a lot you can do by having the Nexus Prism present, because they don't just have the Ninja Steel abilities and the Morphing Masters. I think, I say that, I don't know. I don't know if the Nexus Prism is just for the Samurai Rangers, not Samurai, for the Ninja Steel Rangers. But it would be kind of cool if it allowed them to, if the Nexus Prism allowed people to take different team powers from it. Because if it has a different role on Earth, I mean, you never know. You never know. So I don't know. We do know that the ninja steel powers should be in the prism, because when the ninja steel rangers finish their battle, they don't have their powers anymore. And the Nexus Prism went on to the future generation, or the next generation, or whatever. I don't think it's looking for another ninja steel team. I hope not. But it would be interesting if the Nexus Prism, since we know now it was created by the Morphing Masters, essentially is working for the Morphing Masters, if they're not trying to find the Gold Ranger or the future team that follows this show. That's pretty cool. It's a good way of tying in like all of the teams, are having like this kind of like connectivity or continuity between all of the series. I mean, I'm here for it. I think it's cool. So the prism kind of shoots away, like nobody can catch it, which I didn't think they could. So it is what it is. Mick helps the team. He makes this kind of like hard candy. It's called, what did he call it? Know-how drops. And he's able to throw one into Wolfgang's mouth. And then basically Wolfgang's voice has been distorted, so he can't use it to basically break apart the Zords or anything else anymore. So they destroy Boom Tower. Boom Tower is destroyed. They don't have to worry about Wolfgang anymore. And then in the very top end of this, very beginning of this episode, they got rid of Doom Snake. So that was 3 taken out in one episode. That's not bad for a Power Ranger show. I mean, just saying, that's probably the most I've seen outside of them being jumped by multiple monsters. So I'm pretty impressed with that. What I thought was interesting though, and this is where it got really weird for me. So throughout all the dealings and Mick telling the team that they're great and all that, and them not, the basically Mucus not being able to get the Sporex, except for I think he got Boom Tower's Sporex, but not any of the others. No, actually, no, I take that back. I think Boom Tower was destroyed. She got Wolfgang's Sporex, and Boom Tower actually ended up being the one that the Rangers got. So, but we learned exactly why Void Knight wants all the Sporex to begin with. He is trying to power something, but the room that he never lets anybody go into actually holds like some kind of containment like area with a woman. There's a woman inside of it that has long flowing blonde hair. She looks on a pocket of her shirt. It looked like it said G0013. I don't know. I could be reading that wrong. It's kind of tiny, so I was trying to see it. But Void Knight basically talks to her and says, we'll be together one day. And it's like he's trying to wake her up. I know when I was talking with Joe's Geek Show, he was like, yeah, it's kind of like Mr. Freeze, which is true. Mr. Freeze and his wife. It also reminds me a lot of Roxy and Beast Morphers being in a coma. But now we see that Void Knight is actually trying to wake up his woman. So now you need to ask, is he actually trying to take over the Earth or trying to get his boo back? I mean, yes, he's going about it in very nefarious ways, but plot twist, he's a villain who wants his woman and will do anything to get her back. And she looks human. So I'm assuming Void Knight is human, which makes me wonder who Void Knight is. Who is Void Knight underneath that? It's really interesting. I'm kind of here for it. I'm kind of here for it. But yeah, that was kind of a twist that I didn't think we would see in Power Rangers. I'm like, huh. So Void Knight wants his boo. That's basically it. That is why that's his motivation. This is why he's doing this. I don't know why his minions are doing this, but this is why he's doing it. His henchmen are just like out. They're literally the ones talking about destroying the Power Rangers. And Void Knight, I always said he never really seemed to be trying hard. He's trying to get the Sporex. So now I know why. He actually is trying to just wake this woman up. So I don't know how to take that, but I'm here for it. And then also I thought it was interesting after they were back at the base, everyone's getting ready to say goodbye to Mick because he's going back to space to chase the Nexus Prism, which obviously does not want him to, to catch it, but whatever. He made, of course, the know-how drops, and then they have a bowl. And this is what always cracks me up in Power Rangers. If you have something that's like a failed prototype, why would you leave it out? But they had a bowl full of these little hard candies in multiple colors that are basically know-how drops. And the Rangers, Izzy's like, is anybody else hungry? And I'm like, technically a hard candy like a Jolly Rancher is not going to do anything for your hunger, but that's fine. You do you, boo. But she picks it up and they put it in their mouths. And of course, and their voices are messed up. And then Solan uses her natural voice, which is a dinosaur scream, to scream them back to normal. She banshees them back to normal, which I was completely okay with. And, it is what it is. But I just thought that was really interesting. Stop touching things that you don't know the origin of. If you've never had this bowl of candy in your base, why all of a sudden is there a bowl of candy? Why is Solon into, earth food and earth candy and why would she leave a bowl of like round, like Jolly Rancher type candies for you to just have fun with without, you didn't even ask for permission, just like took it. What if this was her snack? I mean, that's kind of messed up. Like, I'm just seeing there's so many things I can get from that, guys. But overall, I really did enjoy this episode. I did. I was happy because we didn't have a actual Ranger hotline call where they morph or they come in demorphed civilian mode. So I didn't have to get frustrated by that this week. And then we learned a lot. I mean, the Morphin Masters were very involved, and that's pretty cool. I mean, they created the Nexus Prism. They never really explained that. They never explained that they created the Dino gems. And I mean, I'm pretty sure they created Energems. Like, they've never just come out and said this. So I think it's cool that we're getting more and more into the lore of the Morphin Masters, which means we probably are going to be getting more of the Boom comics, which is very, very cool. But on top of that, I still was not happy with Zato's character this week because it's so out of character for this. I could see one of the other Rangers being this way. Like, I could see Ollie just saying, hey, we got our own stuff going on. We don't have time to worry about you. Cause he's always the like one that tries to be the voice of reason, but he's also very, scientific and to the point and, can be a little rude. But Zato never came off as rude from the jump. So like that was so out of character to have his first reaction would make me like, that's your problem, not mine. I know I'm stressed, but whatever, So it's just, he was an a-hole to him. And he only apologized when he realized how big of a deal the Nexus Prism was. And he's like, you needed help. And no. And then you follow that by saying the Nexus Prism, is incredible, blah, blah, blah. But what if it hadn't been a Nexus Prism? What if his guy just generally needed your help finding this object that he lost? And you just basically told him to screw off because you got your own problems. That's messed up. So yeah, I was not too happy with that writing choice this week. But everything else is pretty good. They got me with Void Knight. I never would have thought that he was Mr. Freezing with his girl. So, I mean, now I'm curious. I want their backstory. I know we're pretty early in, but we won't get that for a while because this was the last episode. And as annoying as that is, because Nickelodeon does this to destroy all of our lives, to keep us wondering what happens in shows forever. So, yeah. And on that, I sip my tea. But overall, love the episode. I'm excited for when the show finally comes back, whenever that is, because they definitely left us over the cliffhanger with this Void Knight and his woman thing. And of course, the Morphin Masters and what the Nexus Prism is actually after. So big cliffhanger, lots to talk about. Would love for you to tell me what you thought and what your theories are, ideas, or even questions about this are in the comments, because we love to chat. But yeah, I really liked episode 8. So looking forward to episode 9. And if you would like to sign up for jury duty, hit the subscribe button. If you like news next on Nerd Ballot, the notification bell. Until next time, I can't wait for you to approach the nerd. Bye, guys.
Thank you for watching my video. I really appreciate it, but hey, the party doesn't have to stop now. Click on one of these videos and keep it going.